Hello, dear viewers. This week's parasha is Parashat Beshallach, and it discusses the famous passage of Shirat Chayam, which deals with the splitting of the Red Sea. Over there it is written, Hashem is my strength, and I'll sing to him. He is my salvation. This is my Hashem. I will glorify him. He is my father's leader. I will exalt him. And the Targum Onkelos states, This is my Hashem, and I will build for him a sanctuary. This is my Hashem, and I commit myself to building him the holy temple, the Beit HaMikdash. The Red Sea splitting is the opening stage of our journey, long before the 40 years in the wilderness, and before reaching the land of Israel. How did we suddenly go from the Red Sea to the Beit HaMikdash? Is this the right time to commit to building the Beit HaMikdash? Why did Onkelos suddenly insert the Beit HaMikdash into the Shirat Hayam text? First, they tell a story about the world's first astronaut, Neil Armstrong, who was the first one to reach the moon and become the first to set a human foot upon its surface. The moment he stepped on the moon, a profound sentiment erupted inside of him, expressed through a verse he quoted from the book of Bereshit. In the beginning, Hashem created the heavens and the earth. And then he said the verse, How manifold are your works, O Hashem! In wisdom you have made them all. That is precisely what he said. And then it was broadcasted live to all the stations, and when he later returned to our Earth, to our planet, there was a press conference with him, and they asked him, Tell us, that text you quoted, was it a verse from the Torah? Didn't you have another text you were supposed to say? Why did you suddenly quote verses from the Torah? Was it even necessary to say that? So he replied, I'll tell you the truth. When I landed on the moon, and I felt the sensation that no other person ever felt, I was the first to have the privilege of standing on the moon. I looked around, and there next to me I saw a large planet. That was Mars. And another planet, Jupiter, and then there's that tiny little planet, that's Earth, where billions of people are all crowded together, crammed in. On that tiny planet, my wife and my children also reside there, in a small house in the United States. I didn't forget my country. The first thing I did was to plant the US flag, because it sent me, and it invested all efforts for us to reach the moon. But I thought to myself, on such an incredibly tiny planet, so many billions of people managed to fit. I could only say, How great is your creation, Hashem, which was done with such wisdom. In the beginning, Hashem created the heavens and the earth. It just came out like that. Rather, the bigger question is, if he got so close to Hashem, seeing how great is the creation of Hashem, why didn't he convert? After all, the Torah is Jewish, it's part of our heritage as Jews. It's not the Gentiles. If you've got so close to Hashem, go all the way and convert to Judaism. But what happened? When he came down to the world, to earth, with all those ideas, he became an international star. Slowly, he calmed down, and his passionate excitement for a connection with Hashem went away. And as that sense of closeness diminished, everything froze over, and he became distant, and he never converted, even though he knew the truth. So the Targum Onkelos is explaining something similar with the Jews at the splitting of the Red Sea. They were so inspired spiritually, even the prophet Yehezkel couldn't see what a maidservant at the split of the Red Sea saw. They developed such a spiritual sight, they saw astounding miracles. They were so moved that they proclaimed, We don't want our enthusiasm to diminish in any way. We are committing right now that when we enter the land of Israel, we commit to building the Beit HaMikdash. A binding commitment made today was like a handshake with Hashem. Because maybe, who knows, it could be that 40 years will pass, and after we entered the land of Israel, maybe we'll cool down like that astronaut and no longer do what we are commanded to do. Thus, their initial enthusiasm served as a primary commitment, ensuring that this fervent excitement would not diminish over time. Although Hazal say something different from the interpretation of the Targum Onkelos. Rather, they bring up in the Gemara of Shabbat, on page 133. And also in the Gemara of Sukkah the verse, This is my Hashem, and I will adorn him, which refers to elevating yourself before him with mitzvot. For example, have a beautiful sukkah, a beautiful shofar, a beautiful lulav, and a beautiful Torah scroll. Everything should be beautiful. And the question arises, why is the splitting of the Red Sea linked to the hidur of the mitzvot? Perhaps the Torah should have commanded that every mitzvah like building a sukkah, blowing a shofar, or placing a mezuzah be performed with beauty and excellence. But why the splitting of the Red Sea is it tied to performing all the mitzvot with hidur? This can be explained according to Tosafot Shantz, who explains the verse, "The abysses congealed in the heart of the sea." What does the abysses congealed in the heart of the sea mean? It means that when you look at the sea, you may see something that looks horizontal, straight, paved. That's a mistake. The water looks horizontal, but on the seabed, when a person dives in and sees, there are dips, there are pits, and there are hills. Imagine this scenario at the splitting of the Red Sea. If the waters had simply parted, then the elderly, the infirm, and mothers with infants, while crossing the sea, could have easily stumbled and fallen amidst the hills, the hollows, and the uneven terrain present on the seabed. But Hashem smoothed and paved a path for them. As the verse says, the abysses congealed in the heart of the sea, so the path would be clear, without bumps, without hills, without dips or pits. So the nation of Israel saw and said, wow, Hashem didn't just do a huge miracle for us with the Red Sea splitting, but he did it for us with such exquisite beauty. He made it so perfect that he even smoothed the seabed for us, ensuring we wouldn't slip, fall, or stumble. Therefore, from now on, we are resolute and commit that every mitzvah, as the verse says, "This is my Hashem, and I will build him a sanctuary," will be performed with great care and beauty. This is the connection between the splitting of the Red Sea and the Hiddur of mitzvot. Shabbat Shalom.